Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome in to another episode of the Ancient Andes podcast. I'm your host, Jesse, coming to you from colorful Colorado. We are getting some snow here today on January 25th, 2022, and it appears as though winter has finally arrived, albeit a little later than usual. On today's episode, I sit down to speak with Jan Peter de Jong to discuss the cosmogony of the three Andean worlds and also the worldwide phenomenon of vitrification, which is apparent on stonework all over Peru and the globe. Jan has lived in Peru for over 13 years and has done extensive research and investigations into the various mysteries of the Andes. Together with Jesús Gamarra Farfán, they both created some of the most important fieldwork to be conducted at some of these megalithic sites. If you are enjoying these podcasts, please follow and subscribe wherever you listen. I'd be extremely grateful if you could also leave a star rating or review. This really helps people see the podcast and help it grow. Thank you for your time and consideration. Now sit back and enjoy the pod. Hey, Jan, thank you so much for being here with us. I'd like to begin speaking about the cosmogony first. Can you explain to us the cosmogony of the Andes?
It means that we are speaking about three different periods of history. And it has to do a lot with the circumstances in the of the planet and also in the solar system. And those circumstances, according to the theory of Alfredo Gamarra, were a lot different in the past. And that is why we had three different periods with different circumstances. And that's in a few words, what means the cosmogony of the three worlds.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, Jan is referencing Jesús Gamarra Farfán. He's a good co-worker with Jan down in Peru and good friend as well. And I haven't had the pleasure of meeting him yet, but I'm hoping on my next journey to Peru, we can link up and explore some sites together. He seems like an amazing man. And
I thought you already knew him.
No, we only know each other through Facebook. Yes, we only know each other through Facebook. So I need to get down there and explore more with him and you as well, hopefully one day, Jan. That would be awesome.
I hope to be there this year, maybe in the summer, our summer, like July, August.
Awesome.
Of course, depending on circumstances, but it seems to go in the right direction. Everything that has to do with the corona problems, it seems it's getting better. So I really hope to go there this year.
Yes, and I'm hoping to be there in January of next year. I think I told you I'm dealing with some medical issues right now, but I'm hoping by that time I'll be good to go and I will be enjoying the scenery of the Altiplano very soon.
Yeah, it will be great.
Yeah, I can't wait, Jan. So let's talk more, Jan. So we're talking about the three worlds. We're also talking about three times or three eras, I should say. And the three levels that I know from when I was living in Cusco was Hanan Pacha, Kai Pacha, and Uku Pacha.
Yeah. Jesus and his father are speaking about three different terms, and they call it Hanan Pacha, which is the oldest time, and then we have Uran Pacha, was the next period, and right now we are in the Ukun Pacha. I think there is some similarity with other terms they are using. So the Hanan Pacha, Uran Pacha, Ukun Pacha. Alfredo, Jesus' father, he made a different interpretation about those periods. According to some, they were spiritual worlds of the Incas, but he said no, they were real worlds, only there were other circumstances in those worlds, and that is why we can't understand what was happening at those times. But he said, well, the Hanan Pacha is the first time of humanity on this world, and it coincides with the first time in the Bible, the Genesis of the Bible, and the first time of other religions. And then we get the Uran Pacha, which is another time, also according with some periods in the Bible. And then we have our present day period. And well, that's a complete other interpretation than you hear normally. And a very interesting interpretation, which I got very interested in because of all the things that I learned from Jesús, all the things he showed me in all the places near Cusco, all the ruins, all the sacred places. And well, the interpretation is something very, very interesting, and it explains also a lot of things. It explains why we see, for example, such big stones and why there are such perfect fits of stones, why they could do the things in the rocks that they did. And you know, there are a lot of people studying this lately, and some go as far as to say that they were made by extraterrestrials, or others say they had big lasers, etc., etc. But the interpretation of Alfredo and Jesús, to me, it makes a lot of sense, and that's also because all the things that I could see, thanks to Jesús and thanks to the documentary that we made together, and also thanks to further studies that I did by reading. It was at the time that internet was coming up. It was in the late 90s that we started the documentary to record all the different parts at the different sites, and it was a good time because all kinds of information became available to us.
Well, and you guys were the pioneers, Jan. I mean, no one else was doing these videos and showing sites, and especially showing the vitrification and, you know, the cosmogony, because this is what people, I think, fail to understand.
Well, there are some other people doing, but you know what is always lacking is the big picture and the interpretation that Alfredo gives it. They go into details, and they come with explanations, but you know, the bigger picture of the whole theory is very interesting, and it's also the confirmations that you see at other places, and not only near Cusco or in Peru, but also at other places around the world, and that's what makes it very interesting. You see the same concepts confirmed everywhere, and
so true.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's fascinating. Yeah, I love to hike, and I think people fail to realize that these three eras that you're talking about are also represented in three architectural different techniques, you know, and you can see these three different techniques very clearly around Cusco, and there are so many perfect examples of the evidence of this Hanan Pacha that you talk about, which is the oldest, especially when you focus on the Zona X, you know, this section of Saksai Woman. Saksai Woman has many parts of Hanan Pacha as well, and
yes,
it's just
Saksai Woman is maybe the best place to really start understanding about what Alfredo and Jesús want to say, and it's a perfect place also to do a tour with Jesús. Of course, I always recommend people if they ask me about it, and I sometimes send people to him to really start with him at Saksai, and because if you understand the principles that you see there, you can apply them kinds of places, all kinds of other sites in the Sacred Valley and Machu Picchu, and
yes, and I will post links for your DVD and also links for people to contact Jesús if they are interested in having a guide, because he truly is the best and the most knowledgeable.
Really big scale, of course. That's why it makes it such an amazing place, and yeah, it's always really great to go there again, and I always like it to be there and start walking around, and yeah, you always see new things, and
You always see new things, Jan. And I have to confess, I sneak in sometimes. I used to live in San Cristobal, just below, and sometimes at night I would go and I would sneak in. I know it's not so smart.
okay,
It's a dangerous place, at night.
There's something, you should take care, but
I know,
of
I
course,
know.
also interesting. Yeah, we did it also.
Yes, and
Yeah.
Jan, I got to go right into the Ojo de Puma or Ojo de Jaguar, this section where it is off limits, and I was able to go right into it and sit down, and it's amazing the energy that you feel there. But I don't recommend people do, illegal activities
No,
such
I
as
wouldn't
this.
recommend it. No, I don't,
No,
really not, because it can be dangerous,
a
and you
very
really should
dangerous
know the
place.
place.
Yes, a very
If you
dangerous
would do
place.
something like that, go with someone that knows the place. Don't
Yeah,
go alone.
right.
No, I don't recommend it. And of
No,
course, I went with Jesus, and he
right.
knows all the places and all the details, and of course, we needed to film parts of it, and doing some videos at night helped to show the vitrification.
Of course. And let's talk
Because
more about this
with
vitrification
artificial light, you
because
can see the reflection very easily. So
yes,
that
we
was
need to speak more about vitrification. I think most of our listeners, this will be the first time they've heard this word, maybe not, but vitrification is basically the conversion of a substance into a glossy glass type matter, correct?
Yeah, that's very well explained. And well, of course, there are different opinions about it. And if it really is vitrification, you can have a lot of discussions about it. I had it tons of time on the internet, with different discussion platforms, like, for example, the Graham Hancock message board, or later on Facebook, or in different Facebook groups. And I got a bit tired of that, because it's always the same kind of discussion. Some believe and others don't believe. And the thing is that we should be investigating it. And official archaeology, their version is it's just some shiny surfaces that they have been polishing. That's the official version. Okay, and they don't see any reason to really investigate it, but I do see reasons, because I see this shiny surface always on the same places, on the same styles of buildings, on the same kind of rocks, and it's repeated at different sites. And I really think it's something systematically applied to the stone, and with a technology that we don't know and we don't understand. And that is why it should be investigated. And a lot of people simply don't see it. But if you know how to look, you know how the light should be falling on the stones, then you can see it. And that's what I learned from Jesus. And of course, I apply it at all the places I've been. And it's confirmed that it exists. No, of course, we did a few samples, but it's not enough for a scientific explanation, because then you need more repetitions. But the sample we investigated very well was it was confirmed that there was a change in molecular. How you say that? It contains different elements than the stone below that surface, and
so it's obviously been modified by some kind of a tool or a technique.
It really is like glass. It's the elements that are in that part, which is very thin. It's like a very thin layer on the stone, but it's. Yeah, you can get other opinions, like geologists that say, but that's also happening in nature, and but you see, it's not nature, because it's really very straight and all over the stone, and it's exactly on the corners, and it's not something that is random. In nature, you get these things like